Bonya beat up Milonov and Solovyov. The infighting in the Russian Federation continues. Voivoda has risen and recorded a tearful video message. A hero's widow complains that she's being kicked out of her home. Lavrov urged everyone to keep enduring. The Russian Federation has begun a fight against artificial insemination. Russian women were advised to take a closer look at Russian occupiers. The Kremlin's new scheme. Now they're sent to the front for the slightest offense. Meanwhile, the Russian Orthodox Church held its first procession at the front, and in Georgia, a Russian athlete was booed during the World Championships. Hello everyone, my name is Eva Nikolashvili, and this is Trending. Like and subscribe because we're starting right now. I'll start today's episode with another telling story for those waiting. They believe and dream about how the Russian Federation will come and make everyone rich. But when it arrives, it only robs and seizes everything.
They're just, taking people's homes away. On what grounds, it's unclear. Well, okay, so I have a home, but what about my daughter? She has no home at all, and she has 2 young children.
This woman is the widow of a soldier from the so-called SVO, and they are also Donetsk collaborators. They expected a wonderful life in Russia, but in the end, her husband died, and the occupation authorities threw her out onto the street. Now the widow is whining and recording a video message complaining about the injustice.
Putin said in one of the readings not to take homes from SVO families, but to help them in every way. We are members of a deceased soldier's family. We aren't asking for something new. We're asking not to have our home taken so that we can return. My husband died defending Russia. I personally was a volunteer and brought aid to the soldiers on the front lines. We need help to get to the truth. I even came under fire, crawled through trenches, hid, and even that wasn't taken into account at all.
But the Russian elites are unlikely to come to the aid of their subordinates. Moreover, the Russian authorities say directly, you have to endure a little longer. Lavrov made such a statement. He decided to talk about Russia's ability to endure. And it seems the Kremlin's talking horse is actually proud that Russians are pushovers. Judge for yourselves. Judge for yourselves.
In our character, there is still, even now, something that remains. A quality such as patience. We say God endured, and so should we. But at some point, patience runs out. And I think it's even good that no one understands where that red line is.
But the Kremlin miscalculated with the internet blocking. They probably didn't expect such a strong reaction from their own inner circle. I've already told you about the stir Victoria Bona caused, which even the Kremlin was forced to respond to. But the video message from this Russian socialite really didn't sit well with the Z community. Yuri Podolyaka accused the West of destabilizing Russia through Victoria Bona. Another pro-Kremlin blogger claimed that Bonya is plotting a Maidan in Russia. And Solovyov even labeled the former Dom-2 star as the Russian Federation.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine today. Join us now.
Top criminal.
And it's not for this worn-out mutt to open her filthy mouth and pollute the airwaves. By the way, here's an interesting question. Does she pay taxes in Russia? Interesting question. And what's her legal status in Monaco? Please provide a legal assessment of citizen Bonya's activities. Everything she said is on record. There's enough material for a serious investigation into Bonya's actions by the authorities. So her tears won't be in vain. If you're going to cry, cry for real.
If you remember, I said there would be a sequel to this story. And here it is. Bonya announced a class action lawsuit against United Russia's Milonov and Z patriots Solovyov and Artemy Lebedev. Among other things, the blogger suggested Solovyov call her Victoria Anatolievna Bonya, since her audience is larger than the propagandists on federal channels. In addition, Bonya urged all women who have been insulted online based on their gender to join her class action lawsuit. Well, following another video message, Bonya also posted an AI-generated video. In the clip, she appears as Spider-Man, beating up Milonov, Solovyov, and Lebedev. I've had enough. I have a feeling that Bonya is aiming for politics. What do you think? Could she really be a replacement for Putin? Share your thoughts in the comments. I know people from different countries are watching us. Also, tell us in the comments where you're from and if people there support the Ukrainians' fight against the Russian occupiers. It's very interesting to read. And don't forget to like this video and be sure to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Meanwhile, in Russia itself, there are more bans. Now, Russians are banned from posting the number 666 on social media. And that's because, according to the Russian authorities, it's propaganda for Satanism. And there are already the first fines. Residents of Tyumen and Voronezh were fined 1,000 rubles for posting the number. And in Tomsk, a man with a 666 tattoo was even arrested for 14 days. In the Russian Federation, a crackdown on IVF has begun. It was announced by the head of the State Duma Committee on Family Issues, Nina Ostanina. The reason for the crackdown was data showing the growing popularity of artificial insemination. Over the last 4 years, the demand for IVF has increased by 50%. Ostanina called this a profound problem in society and advised Russian women to take a closer look at the participants of the so-called SVO.
We understand that if a child is raised only by a mother, it will have an impact later on their socialization. We are already seeing the results of female upbringing in educational institutions. Then we have these effeminate men with a feminist touch. Besides the lack of will and backbone, it's all a result of female upbringing. In the SVO zone, there are real men. So these women should look at our soldiers and find a way to connect with them, support them, and wait for them.
The most interesting thing is that Ostanina herself raised 2 sons with her husband. One of them, Danil Ostanin, was sentenced in 2012 to 12.5 years in a high-security prison for the murder of his business partner. New rules in Russia. Now, where are Russians sent for their debts? That's right, to the front. Credit card debt has become a legal reason to open criminal cases against men. Russian lawyers are talking about this and adding that debtors are literally given a choice, prison or being sent to the SVO.
Several guys have already called me over the last probably 2 or 3 weeks who are facing criminal charges and being sent to the SVO. And this is no joke because criminal cases have already been opened against some males under Article 159 of the Russian Criminal Code. I want to warn those who have debts to banks or microloan organizations. If you haven't made at least 3 payments, there are grounds to hold you criminally liable. So the option of doing nothing and hoping it goes away won't work anymore. So you need to decide something. You need to get out of this situation. Either pay off your debts or file for bankruptcy. There are only 2 options.
The popular blogger Vovoda has risen. Military pilot and author of the Z channel Vovoda Speaks, Alexei Zemtsov, recorded a new video message. And no, not from the other side. He's alive and well. In the new video, Zemtsov said he's back in his unit and plans to go to the front in a season.
Hi everyone, I voluntarily returned to my unit thanks to my parents and friends who talked me out of the wrong move of leaving. They promised that in a season I'll be back to fighting. Well, we'll see how it goes.
And there's no need to announce what's next. If you've planned it, you should just do it. We'll be happy even without announcements. The occupiers have serious problems with supplies and communication. As the Atesh partisans found out, Russian soldiers are increasingly discussing an acute shortage of ammunition for certain types of artillery. As the classic once said, Shoigu, Gerasimov, where is my ammunition? Another problem mentioned by the partisans is communication. The equipment used is unstable and easily jammed by Ukrainian electronic warfare systems. As a result, units lose coordination and command in some areas is effectively collapsing, Atesh notes. But the Russians have already started to solve the problem. Soon, everything will be fine for the occupiers. No, there won't be any ammo. What are you thinking? Instead, the first aerial religious procession was held for the Russians at the front. This is an official report from the Russian Ministry of Aggression. The department reported that an Mi-8 helicopter with an icon of Archangel Michael flew along the line of operations of the 27th Motorized Rifle Brigade and the 68th Motorized Rifle Division of the West Group of Forces. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on us. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on us. I think it's a very effective defense. Though, as practice shows, after such Russian Orthodox Church moves, everything falls apart. So we approve. When is the next religious procession? In Colombia, a native of Saratov who became a mayor was fired for corruption. The Saratov native's name is Mikhail Krasnov. He has lived in the Colombian city of Tunja since 2008. He worked there as a university professor. But in 2023, Krasnov decided to change careers and went into politics. He won the election for the head of the city of Tunja, and now, in April, he was removed from office. The prosecutor's office charged him and 3 of his subordinates with conspiracy against public administration, illegal influence on public procurement, usurpation of functions, and abuse of power. I'm not implying anything, but don't you think that wherever Russians are, problems appear immediately? And finally, another reminder of how normal people treat Russians. In Georgia, at the European Judo Championships, the award ceremony for a Russian athlete was held with a special accompaniment. When the Russian anthem played in the hall, some of the audience met it with whistling. And then comments from the stands were added to the musical program. The hall echoed with, "Russia is an occupier." Russia is, let there be no doubt, an occupier. Russia is an occupier. Glory to Ukraine.